Hey everyone. I don't know how to describe this video, but uh, kind of kind of made me very sad, and I want to share with you um, something that I discovered across my travels on the internet. Now, as a freelancer, I'm constantly scouring the ads for freelance writing positions of any kind. Really, anything that pays good money. Um, this one was for researcher. You probably can't see it the way I'm shooting this. But I'd like to read you this ad and see if you could tell me what organization wants this researcher position. Because it kind of shocked me when I read it. I don't normally even read an ad like this because it's researcher and I can do research, but I'm not like a researcher per se. I assume it's very scientific and academic and, for some things I'd probably be pretty good at, but, I'm not a researcher by trade. So this I'm gonna blank out the words that would give it away, the organization, but see if you can guess. I'm gonna read you the whole thing. Hiring a researcher. This person will be tasked with providing blank writers and producers with information related to the show's blank and news-driven segments. She will be proactive in their research for the day's big stories and also responsible for fact checking and doing deep dives. Research experience is a must, specifically in politics, as well as in pop culture and science. Everything from the latest on the government's happenings to what's trending on Twitter and Instagram to what's new in the world of robots. The candidate will be responsible for reading and curating current events and news stories. She will scour TV networks, websites, and social media for news relevant to our audience, digesting and understanding the stories, able to explain them to a room full of blank writers and producers. Fact checking and the ability to do deep dives required. Qualifications: undergraduate degree or equivalent work experience, strong editorial judgment to what stories work for our audience and which facts details are relevant to our show. Strong grasp of political news and knowledge of the inner workings of government. Experience in research for a news outlet or similar platform. At least 2 years of television production, journalism, academic research, or equivalent. Acute attention to detail. Interest in all genre of news, political, entertainment, pop culture, domestic, international. Equal opportunity employer. Now, who do you think is looking for a researcher? I'll give you a hint. It's a TV show. You probably surmised that from what I read. It's not supposed to be a news show. It's The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I know. I mean, I was a huge fan of Stephen Colbert and the Colbert Report. The Colbert Report was amazing because Stephen is incredibly talented. I have no problem saying that. He's still very talented. He did, and you should Google this, the White House Press Club dinner. When they bring in a comedian to do stuff, they don't really do it much anymore. He did it for Bush at the kind of the height of Bush's power. It's the most amazing thing you'll ever see. Google it. Watch it. It's great. But now, it's like watching a friend lose their marbles. I feel like Stephen has Trump derangement syndrome so bad, it's ruining his comedy. Just ruining it. It is not, when you do comedy, you're supposed to punch up. It's hard not to be punching up at Trump because he's a billionaire and he's the president of the United States, but when you have the entire media elite behind you, pushing your show, pushing your narrative, and you're still slamming Trump based on their often inaccurate reporting, you're not really punching up. You're just kind of helping the status quo in media. The status quo in media is Stephen Colbert, is CNN. There's so much news stuff in here, Stephen. Where's the comedy? How much news information do your comedy writers need to do a joke? Look, I write comedy. Hey, I'm not as big as you. Don't come at me. I did write for Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. They just told us to read USA Today and skim the little news bites, which we did. And sometimes I'd go on the internet and get like weird little news stories. I mean, to me, it's not that hard to write a few jokes. And you're just, well, you're becoming news. You're becoming serious and important. But you're not. You're a comedian. And to me, it's gotten so bad, people are parodying you. I parodied you. Link in the description. I wrote the alternate Stephen Colbert basically gives an interview and talks about how he never, talks about politics on his show and his ratings are as high as they've ever been. I think you're alienating half your audience because half your audience, potential audience, are Trump supporters. And you're just parroting back the same nonsense that, that these deep dives are supposed to avoid. And let's be honest, you're not going to hire a kid who really does deep dives and gives you real information. Your producers and writers they'll just ignore it. The audience isn't your audience. The audience is your producers and writers. They're going to get some college kid to watch news and pick out the best stories so they can make fun of Trump. So you can make fun of Trump. That's what this is really about, in my view. There were those guys who messed with your billboard. Google that. They turned you into a giant NPC meme. Yeah, that must have hurt. That should have been your wake-up call right there. What the hell am I doing here? I'm a comedian, and I'm being the butt of the joke. I'm being parodied. Look, you're great. You're so talented. But you've allowed yourself to become so politicized, it's ruining your show. It's ruining it, in my opinion. I can't even watch it because you're proselytizing, or whatever you want to call it. It's just so egregious. You were wrong in 2016. You lost. And you were wrong to pick Hillary Clinton. She was not the lesser of two evils. And your producer, and there was a WikiLeaks email that shows that the Colbert Show was in contact, or the Late Show, I believe. I guess it was the Late Show. I'm not sure. Google that too. I'll try to find the link and put it in the description. But, your producer was in contact with the Hillary campaign. Oh, what could we do for her? That's not cool. It's not cool and hip and funny to be in bed with one of the candidates, no matter how much you thought she should have been president. I didn't vote for Hillary, and I didn't vote for Trump, by the way, just so you know. I'm a libertarian. I voted for Gary Johnson. Yeah, I know. Could have made fun of us. You could have also made fun of Hillary. There was a lot to make fun of. And there's a lot to make fun of on the left right now. They're destroying themselves. And it is hilarious. But not to you, it's not. Because you're too invested on that side. And you have become consumed by politics like everybody else in this country. So in my view, you have a choice. The first thing you could do is you could just abandon politics and just keep it off your show. Make a rule and just keep it off your show. Don't do news. Don't do anything topical unless it's just, like a nice story about a puppy. Something like that. But that's not you. It's not your edge. You used to be edgy. You can regain that edge. But you're going to have to take a big risk. You may have noticed Bill Maher. Every time he says something not so negative about Trump, oh my God, Twitter lights up and they call for his head on a platter, virtual platter. Oh, it's time for Bill Maher to be put out the pasture. He's just expressing his opinion, and he's pretty damn liberal. You need to do the same. And let me warn you, they're going to come after you if you do. They may take your show. Your money, your cushy job, all that could be gone. They'll say, what's up with Colbert? Has Colbert secretly been a Trump supporter all along? Why is Colbert pulling his punch against Trump? That would just be the tip of the iceberg. If you decided to finally throw off the shackles of your ideological imprisonment, let's call it. But you'd be a hell of a lot funnier. You don't think they will come after you? You don't think they're supporting you artificially? Look at Rotten Tomatoes and that new Rian Johnson movie, I think his name is. You know, the guy who directed The Last Jedi. His movie's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes because, it's such a great movie because it makes fun of Trump and Trump supporters. Meanwhile, Dave Chappelle, who did actually something really cutting and edgy and cool, the audience score is 99%. And the critics are bashing it. The audience loves it. Because SJWs, the left, Democrats, they're all ripe, Stephen. And you've been pulling your punch for too long. And you know it. You pulled your punches for 8 years on Obama. And that was wrong. Because he was above you. And he deserved to be punched up. Trump deserves to be punched once in a while too. But not unfairly. If you can't beat Trump in a fair match using your entertainment wits, then you should just hang it up. Because comedy has always been about risk. And you're not taking any risk anymore, Stephen. I miss the old Stephen. Come back, Stephen.